State. Data that changes throughout the lifecycle of the app. We use props to share data between components, but how do we actually modify that data? Well, props are immutable, which means we can't just change their value anywhere and expect React to update the UI. For data that changes, React provides a hook called useState. A hook is a function that can be called in the top level of your component to use different features of the framework. In the case of useState, it creates a stateful value, and whenever it changes, it will automatically re-render any components that depend on it. It takes a default value as an argument and returns two values in an array. It's common to destructure these values, with the first element being the actual value that you want to use in the UI, then the second value being a function that you can use to render a different value. For example, we might build a counter that starts at 0. The count is the current value, which we can show in the UI. To change the count, we might have a button that when clicked, we'll call the setCount function and add 1 to the current value. You'll notice that when you run this code, every time you click the button, the UI will re-render. That would not be the case if you used a regular variable on the component. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that if you're working with an array or object with useState, is that when you set a new value, it will completely override the old one. If you want to merge a new value into an array or object, it's common to use the spread syntax to merge the old value into a new object. Now, if your state management becomes very complex, you may prefer the useReducer hook over useState. It's a bit more advanced, but uses a pattern popularized by Redux, where you extract your logic into a function and dispatch actions to update the state. In addition, there are many third-party libraries that deal with state management, like Redux, Recoil, and MobX, just to name a few. But I would highly recommend keeping it simple with useState before reaching for a third-party package.